wanted to talk to you about seller's concessions. One of the biggest mistakes, I believe, is when a buyer says, yes, I want the house, but I want you, seller, to cover all of my closing costs and prepaid items. And the reason why is because it's not a good deal for the buyer. In addition, I've polled a bunch of listing agents and said, hey, if you've got two offers that are exactly the same, one of them's asking for help in terms of closing costs, the other one isn't, which one feels better to the seller? And inevitably they say the one where you're not getting any help. So number one, your odds of getting the house go down in competing offer situations if you're asking for concessions. Number two is most of the time it's a first-time home buyer or someone with limited funds that is looking for a concession help. And what I've found is I've just done the math here and looked at it saying, you know, if I'm going to request closing costs for the seller versus letting the lender cover them by increasing the interest rate, what is the better deal over a certain time frame? So I've got a scenario here I wanted to show you where the purchase price is $259 and the buyer's agent threw in a $3,000 concession. So what I had recommended to my buyer, who it's his first home, he's buying a townhome, he can't imagine being in it more than 7 years. He's thinking probably about 5. We're still going to do a 30-year fix, however, simply because in the event he stays in it forever, I don't want him taking a 5-7 year arm to feel forced to make a decision when this thing goes to adjust. So we've kind of played the market conservatively, saying 30-year fix, but aggressively going, I don't think I'm going to be in this house for the long term. So in this scenario, what I have done is I basically ran an analysis and showed him, hey, if you take a 5% no mortgage insurance, 5% down loan, what happens is lenders covering the MI, that's a different topic, I'll talk about that later, and rolling it into the interest rate. But if he takes a 5.25% interest rate, what you can see is I can cover all of his closing costs. The cash to close is essentially to the penny the same dollar amount. But for the first 8 years of this loan, it becomes cheaper actually to have the lender cover all of the costs. Cash to close is exactly the same. Monthly payment is a little bit more than it would be for him to start at $259 versus $256. So here's what happens. I kind of look at it this way. If you and I are going to run a race, a 100-yard dash, and the 100 yards represents 30 years of a mortgage, and we looked at this and said, well, you're a lot faster than me, a la the lower interest rate, but I have a head start. I've got a $3,000 head start. How far can I continue to win? If the race is only 20 yards, there's a good chance I'm going to win the race if you're in a bail or if we're going to stop. If you make this throughout the entire term, then you'll end up eventually, because you've got a lower interest rate, pulling ahead of me. But that's why it's important to know how long you want to be in the loan for and how to structure this the right way. Because he's starting $3,000 lower in a purchase price, that means his loan amount is starting based upon a $3,000 lower purchase price, which means even though the interest rate is higher, the difference in the monthly payment is under $25, and saving that $3,000 takes him into 8 years, 9 years down the line. If he's still in the loan for a full 9 years, it would have cost him $111 more than it would to take the concession day one. So when we look at these scenarios, I strongly want you to consider, do not have any seller concession. Get it from your lender instead. Any questions? Feel free to hit me up.